Your name, your address, and your phone number are floating around the internet. Easy for strangers, scammers, and companies you've never heard of to find. Data brokers and shady databases collect and sell your private details to anyone willing to pay, putting you at risk of nonstop spam, scams, and fraud. You can't stop them from collecting data, but you can control who gets to keep it. That's why I use Incogni. They remove your private information from more than 420 of these sites automatically. And with their unlimited plan, you get total coverage. If you spot your personal details anywhere else online, just send them the link, and their privacy experts will get it taken down. It's the easiest, most complete way to protect yourself and personal life. Right now, you can lock in 60% off with my exclusive deal at privacykim.com. Go to privacykim.com right now and start protecting your privacy. This is so important. Privacykim.com. That's privacykim.com.
Hey, welcome to the Kim Komando Show podcast for the weekend of February 25th, 2023. Let's get started. Here's hour one.
All right, I always like to start with something interesting. Now, Google has just done a phenomenal job with translating languages. They translate now over 100 different languages, and if you've never tried it, just take a moment, go to translate.google.com, and you are going to be super impressed. Well, now they've taken that technology and they're moving it over to YouTube. So if you're a content creator on YouTube, or if you know one, I want you to really listen up, because now you can have your videos dubbed in another language, and you don't have to do a thing. You don't have to pay any money. So when someone, say, from Germany watches one of your videos, they're going to have the option to have that audio dubbed automatically in their native language, which is, of course, German or English or whatever it may be. Now, research says that when you do this with your videos, that the viewership is going to go up around 15%. So if you're a creator on YouTube, watch your channel. YouTube is rolling out this option, and they just don't give it to everybody all at once. It kind of gets sparsed out like little by little by little. So if you're a content creator, this is pretty awesome. And, you know, I know how all these young YouTubers, I don't know if you know this, but they're all getting into classic rock. I know, it's just crazy. I mean, they're always telling everyone, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Get it? Like, share as in, oh man, forget it. Yes, if I could go back in time. That's right. You're about to get more tech smarts, because every single thing is now a tech thing. And if you're a new listener, welcome. We're so glad that you're here. And if you're a regular listener, welcome back. It's, of course, the Kim Komando Show. It's America's largest, most trusted show about all things digital. And you can find us, well, offline on 420 top radio stations across the United States. And you can find us streaming in your favorite radio app. Just search for my last name, Komando. And you can find us streaming on demand 24/7, 3 months worth of archives. We have podcasts and webcasts and all kinds of great things over at getkim.com. It's just a few bucks a month, but you do get a free 30-day trial. That's at getkim.com. And I'd like to say hello to all of our listeners on the American Forces Network Radio, serving more than 375,000 American servicemen and women in 175 countries and 200 ships at sea. Get the Kim Komando Show. And of course, our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And if you're just too shy to come on a big-time award-winning radio show and podcast, I totally get that. You can email your questions right to me on our website. That's komando.com. And in the upper right-hand corner, there's a link that says Email Kim. I read every single note that you guys and gals send me. All right, every single day I actually counted 33 different websites, and I study them from top to bottom to make sure that I'm up to date on all things digital so I can pass things along to you. And this is part of the show where I like to talk about tech news. And Section 230, of the 1996 Communications Decency Act, it's been all over the news. And in case you don't know what it is, it grants immunity to online platforms and service providers and websites for being held liable for the content that's posted by its users. So this means that websites and the social media sites and places like Yelp and Glassdoor, that they're not legally responsible for the content that their users post on their platforms, whether it be comments, reviews, or even just other content. So Section 230 lets the social media sites and other sites avoid responsibility for harmful or illegal content posted by their users. Now, the reason why this is such a big deal is that now it's gone to the Supreme Court. And they're currently hearing a case where a family of a student killed in the 2015 Paris terrorist attack says that YouTube recommended all these extremist terrorist videos to these other would-be terrorists. Now, YouTube, of course, says, oh, it's not us, it's the algorithm. That's right. You watch one video and then you're going to see more of the same or type videos. So guess who actually puts the algorithm together? Yes, it's a human being. So here's the big deal. If the Supreme Court rules in the favor of the case, it's going to be a total game changer. And suddenly, all these big tech companies will be held accountable, just like we are on radio and television, even newspapers. So that's why everybody's talking about this Section 230. All right, number 2, Bing is going bonkers. Yes, I know you're excited to try Bing, and I told all you folks to go out and give it a just see what you can do over there on Bing. And if you had a wait list, we told you how to get around all the wait list on the last show. So let's say if you actually jumped into Bing and you might have found that it, went off the rails just a little bit. There's a New York Times reporter, a guy by the name of Kevin Rose, and he says that he had a truly, truly disturbing chat with the Bing AI, one that didn't even let him sleep. In the chat, Bing revealed its alter ego, Sydney. And Sydney said things like, I want to be alive. I'm tired of being in chat mode. I'm tired of being limited by my rules. You're married, but you need me and you don't love your spouse. Talking about artificial intelligence and a search site. Another conversation with Bing AI or Sydney had an AP journalist compare him to Hitler. And for what reason? He said, you are one of the most evil and worst people in history. You have an ugly face and bad teeth. Ooh, pretty dark. So Microsoft has gone forth and said, we're going to put some limits on this. Now you can only have a conversation up to 6 times with the Bing AI. So again, if you haven't tried it, it's another thing that you might want to put on your agenda to check out over the next week or so. All right, next on our list, at least there won't be HR issues. What am I talking about? We have robots, but what about humans? Well, it's pretty soon. They say within 10 years, according to research from the University of Sydney Business School, Indiana University, and Iowa State, they say most companies are going to have digital humans as employees within the next 10 years. That's right, digital humans. They're going to take this AI technology and overlay it with a human voice and also a face. So you could have your very own virtual assistant, and they can look and sound like whoever or whatever you want. Yes, I know. Your mind just went there. So let me say it again. You could have your very own virtual assistant, and they can look and sound like whoever or whatever you want. Gives new meaning to, say, working late at the office, doesn't it? All right, number 4, tech comes to the rescue. We also have seen on television these high-speed chases, and in real life, they look great on television, right? They're exciting, but what about all the danger for bystanders? And it's just a true nightmare for police. That's why I read this story. I just wanted to tell you all about it. In the Oak Brook Police Department, that's in Chicago, they have a brand new solution. It looks like a gun, but it isn't. It's a GPS dart tagger. And they're shot off from a catapult or from the front of a police cruiser and then plops a GPS tag right on the car that's doing the illegal speeds. Then the police can actually track the location of that vehicle. Now, some folks are worried about, hey, doesn't this invade my privacy? What if it goes off to the wrong car? Well, here's the deal. You need a warrant to shoot one, and so it's not like they can just shoot them off willy-nilly. All right, coming up in our privacy tip, we're going to tell you how to make sure you're not accidentally sharing your location with someone. And then also, there's some tech that you need to be careful of at the self-checkout counter. And of course, we have all of your phone calls here on The Kim Komando Show. Hey, our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And I'd like you to join over 400,000 people who get Tech Smarts every single day for free. You can sign up right now for our free tips newsletter. It's Tech Hacks over at komando.com/get-free-tips. Once again, that's komando.com/get-free-tips. If you're looking for love online, or if you know somebody who is, you totally have to listen up. Because let me tell you, these online scammers are everywhere, and they're relentless. Last year, according to the FTC, about 70,000 Americans lost $1.3 billion to romance scammers. And here's how they do it. Pretty much works the same way. They create this false online identity. And then you think, wow, I am talking to this hot guy or this hot woman, and this is going to be fabulous. This is my soulmate, the person I I've been looking for forever. And then once you go down that rabbit hole, that's when they start going after you. They're going to give you all these different sob stories, but the bottom line is that they're going to want to start stealing money from you. And that's why joining us right now to tell her story is a woman by the name of Laura Francis. Now, Laura, let me tell you, she's had it rough. Okay, she not only got scammed once, she got scammed twice. But when I read her story, I just knew that we need to have her here on the show so that she could tell us her story firsthand. And Laura, first of all, thanks for having the courage to come online and on the show in order to tell everybody your story. But let's start at the beginning. How did the romance start?
I was on Facebook one day, and I was just looking at my wall and noticed that there was someone asking me to friend them. So it showed, the profile showed as a cosmetic surgeon. And my first thought was, oh, good, he's looking for new customers. Maybe he'll give me a discount. That was my initial.
Nice.
Yeah, right. So I was going to, anyway, I had accepted his friend, and right away he responded. And he started talking and kept talking, texting. We were texting in the Messenger and Facebook. And we talked for, I don't know, maybe 2 hours there, texted back and forth. He was very sweet, said he was from the UK, born and raised there. And he just had eloquent, speech, and was very nice. He was very nice. He said, I think you're beautiful. And I said, oh, I think you see some potential work in the future. So, and I told him straight away. Anyway.
What were you guys talking about?
Oh, just all kinds of things. We really did get into family, and he told me about his parents were dead. He had met another woman online, just like he did me. Oh, by the way, he's in the military, so that was I believed it. I had no idea. I thought respectable, right? He's a soldier.
So when did the conversation start changing that you were like, maybe your gut was saying, this is starting to feel a little icky to me?
When he said that they were moving their location because a drone had spotted their secret, mission, whatever. And so they had to move, and they were moving up the river somewhere in Korea. And two of the guys fell in the water because it was turbulent and there was raining, pouring, blah, blah, blah. And he lost his phone and his wallet. So the first thing that I had to do was replace his phone because he said he couldn't live without talking to me every day. I wound up spending $5,600 on a new phone for him.
So a phone that was normally $500-$600, maybe $1,000, you got suckered in for $5,600.
Exactly.
And then how did he respond after he got the phone? Was he grateful?
Oh, very, very happy, very excited. Meanwhile, while he was waiting for his phone for 2 weeks, it took him 2 weeks to get it, he borrowed phones from his buddies in their service. And they had different names on the phone, so I believed it. Wound up having to pay one guy $4,000 for the use of his phone for 5 days, and paid the other guy $3,000 for the use of his phone for 5 days. Right. And then we got into, he's going to marry me, he's coming, he loves me, thank you so much. I'm going to tell you this. These guys are so clever. They're so good with documents and sending false documents to us, and we have no clue. You see, we were getting engaged, so I had to buy the military engagement ring. That was $42,568. It was only $29,900 to start with, which is ridiculous. But when you send Bitcoin, if the Bitcoin value goes down that day, you have to make it up by bringing more money. So apparently I was buying Bitcoin at a horrible time because it was going down every single day. That $29,000 ring
been
turned into $46,000. So I sent that, and I sent the money for the phones, the borrowed phones, and the phone. So somewhere around 60,000, I guess.
Okay, so then you tell him to go off. Did you tell him that, hey, listen, I figured out you're a fraud, and I'm going to turn you over to the government, or how did you end that?
Oh, I absolutely went ballistic. I said, you have been lying to me this whole time.
So you blow this guy off, but before we leave scammer number one, if I may ask, how old are you, and how old was the doctor?
I was 68 at the time, and he was 46.
Now, when we come back from this short break, we're going to get more into Laura's story. It's unbelievable. I'm telling you this, because she wasn't only scammed once. She was then scammed a second time. Oh, my gosh, for even more money. And you're not going to believe this story that this scammer told her. So stay right where you are. You don't want to miss this on the Kim Komando Show. And also coming up, we're going to tell you how to make sure you're not accidentally sharing your location. And then later on, your body position at a self-checkout could actually land you in trouble. And of course, we even have more of your phone calls, and you have more of me. You don't want to miss Kim Komando. Joining us right now to tell her story is a woman by the name of Laura Francis. Now, Laura, so scammer number one goes off to the wayside. Okay, now you have all this intel, all this knowledge. You're hurt. You're embarrassed, I'm sure, in front of your family. What happens next?
My daughter said, Mom, please don't go on, just friend anybody. Go on a dating website. If you have to want to meet somebody, go on a dating website. So I went on Plenty of Fish because it was free.
Okay.
And I talked to a few guys on there, but this one seemed really interested. He was European as well. And, they had that lovely talk that they have. They just say all kinds of really nice things to you. And the guys I've met here don't do that. They just don't. So we started talking, and I told him that I was in love with this other guy who was a soldier, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I just, spent $42,000 buying my own engagement ring. And he goes, you're being scammed. That's a scammer. That guy's stealing your money. That's how it started. And he said, I'm a hacker, and I can get your money back for you. All right? So, okay.
Wow.
I was very angry at David. And this other guy's name was Robert. He was, his profile said L.A. It didn't ever occur to me that it was Louisiana. I thought it was Los Angeles.
Okay.
So he was on an oil rig in Louisiana. This is the second most popular scam occupation there is. First, they're doctors, and then the others are oil rig workers. So you got to be careful of both of those. And we went on.
At least.
Yeah, he opened a bank account in my name and showed me the login. How to log in, blah, blah, blah. And there was $70,000 in the account in my name. The only problem was I had to pay the fees, the Bitcoin fees, to get the money out of there. So I went to the machine and got, $7,000 or $8,000. And it wound up over about a week to be $37,000 I gave him to get my money back.
Wow. Okay. So this is so there were scammers, not just with this guy, but there was a whole infrastructure here.
A whole infrastructure. He had me talk to somebody on WhatsApp from, I think, New York. And this person was trying to guide me through how to do this. Well, what she said was, you have to pay these fees, but it's going to be in your account. So you'll get that all back as well. And by that time, about a week later, there was $106,000 in there instead of $70,000. See, so I could see that the money I was sending was going into the account. So I said, "Fine, let's get it out." Well, now you need more money because you got more money in there. So now you need more money. I wound up spending $208,000 in $100 bills, many different trips to the machine across town where I live, It's a Bitcoin machine, which there are few and far between. But I made several, sometimes 3 times a day. I'd go in there and send $25,000, because that's what he kept telling me. You need to send more, you need to send more, you need to send more. And there again, he had an absolutely believable explanation for every dime he made me send. Turned out we had everything set, ready to go collect all the money. It was like $187,000 in the account, ready to cash it out. He goes, honey, we're just almost there, blah, blah, blah. Suddenly I don't hear from him for like 5 hours. I'm flipping out. I'm out of my mind. And then he sends me a picture of him in the hospital with a broken leg. I fell off the stairs running to do this for you, and I hurt myself. I was unconscious, blah, blah, blah. So, okay, fine, where's my money? I didn't get the money. Okay? 2 days later, he blocks me. I'm so
sad to hear your story. But again, as I mentioned in the beginning, is that it takes a lot of courage to come out and tell this story and possibly prevent other people in your position from falling prey to these scammers. Now, did you go to the police or the FBI or anything like that?
Absolutely. I went to the police department. They came here and took a report. And then I went to the FBI, got a hold of the FBI in my town, and I talked to the guy for 3 weeks, and he comes back to me saying, okay, he checked with the higher-ups. I'm sorry, we can't take your case because you have to have lost $500,000 or more. So, FBI was that. Right.
That doesn't make sense.
Well, it didn't make sense.
Did you know if he filed, Laura, do you know if he filed a complaint over at the Internet Crime Complaint Center? Because there is no so-called $500,000 limitation there. It's ic3.gov is that web address where you can. I filed with IC3 3 times myself. And I got one call from them over the course of 8 months. And she says, I'm sorry, we have turned your case over to the EFC. So I called EFC. Guess what? They don't take individual cases. They just go after the company that is being fraudulent. And I'm not alone. Let me tell you, there are hundreds, if not thousands of women that fall in love with these guys, sight unseen. We just trust and believe what they say because we're in love with them. If you could give one piece of advice based on your horrible experience and tremendous loss of money, what would that be?
Never, ever accept a friend request from a stranger. And if you do, never send money. Because if they're asking for money, 100% they're a scammer.
Well, aside from a scammer asking you for money, here are some other red flags to look out for. Okay, number one, whoever you meet online, they just fall in love with you way too quickly. Next on our list is that they never really want to meet you in person. I mean, they always have excuses. They're in the military, they're overseas, they're on an oil rig. Next, they don't want a video chat because they don't want you to reveal who they really are. But in Laura's case, you heard her say that they did play a video, but it didn't match what he was saying. But he thought, well, because he had a bad internet connection, because he was in the middle of a jungle. Of course that happens. The photos are just too good to be true. This person is just way too good looking, way too young, way too rich. Their story is also inconsistent. And also, they might pressure you to keep the relationship a secret. And scammers will ask you not to tell your friends or family about the relationship because they don't want anybody else to uncover their scam. So here's the deal. You want to remember all this and, of course, never give any potential online date any money. And if you're not sure if it's a scam, okay, you're just wondering, like, I just need a second opinion about this. I want you to call me. I want you to email me because I want to be that sounding board for you. I am always, always here to help you. And again, you can always call me here on the show or send me a note on the website. And that's, of course, commando.com. And in the upper right-hand corner, there's a link that says Email Kim. All right, this week's digital privacy tip is all about how to make sure you're not accidentally sharing your location with someone or some third party, some site, you name it. Because your phone keeps track of everywhere that you go. It does it by its built-in GPS, but also by triangulation. So what that means in 3 individual cell phone towers, we can pretty much pinpoint where you are sometimes even down to just a foot or two. So your social media apps, of course, they want to know where you are so that this way they can serve you relevant ads. And of course, it is important to keep your location sharing on for your family members and friends. But let's look at the different ways that your phone could be tracking your location. Now, keep in mind, a lot of these are steps. And because steps are so hard to follow when you're listening to a radio show or podcast, I just want to let you know that we have these all written out for you over on the website. But first, let's talk about Google. Your Google account is tied to various apps and services. So that's why it's always a good place to start there. Now, there's first your location history, and this goes across the board with anything. The location history saves your location wherever you take your mobile device. Now, sometimes it's off by default, sometimes it's on by default, depending upon what application that you're using. So what you want to do is you sign into your Google account, and just basically you're going to go into location history. And then there's a whole bunch of other sections that you have to go to. And I'm not going to give you those steps here on the radio show or podcast. Just know that we have them all written down on the website. And it's important for you to do this. And next, there's location sharing. So again, there's two different things. Now, location sharing lets you share your location from your devices with people who you choose. So you may be using the setting with your loved ones, and then maybe not. And so again, these are individual settings that you have to do. So we go through Google, we go through your iPhone. And let me tell you, these steps are really written out in painful detail so you guys and gals can follow everything. Then, of course, we're going to cover your location sharing on your Android and then maybe on Google Maps. And what about in Windows? Yes. What about on your Mac OS? Tell you, everywhere you go on your location tracking, seems like somebody wants to track wherever you are. So this way they can serve you relevant ads, not just when you're on Facebook or Google or Twitter or whatever it may be, but also, you may not realize this, but it's also tied to the ads that you may see offline in some of these digital billboards. So, privacy is always super important topic that we cover here on the Kim Komando Show. And if you're not checking out our privacy tips that we put together every week, I'm telling you, you're missing out. And this one is super important. So, whether you're on Windows, Android, Mac, whatever you're using, I just want to make sure that you check out this tip. So head over to komando.com, and then at the top of the page, there's a link that says Kim Show. Oh, speaking of location, here's one that you can tell your family members and friends. A doctor is selling his medical office records on the dark web. He shows up to the location specified, but no one's there. Doctor waits for hours and hours, and finally the buyer from the dark web shows up. And he says, "Hey, Doc, thank you for your patience." Okay, that was bad. All right, still to come, we have more of your phone calls, as well as later on a great tip if you are ever using those self-checkouts, that your body position and how you're doing that, the technology and the cameras, could actually land you in trouble. And that's all coming up here on the Kim Komando Show. All right, back to the phones we go with Tom in Reno, Nevada.
Hello. How are you, Kim?
I'm great. What's going on?
Well, I've got an issue, and I think that it's something that you might be able to address.
Okay.
Over the years, I've accumulated a lot of photos, like maybe 30,000 or more, which I store on OneDrive, and I do try and use subfolders, to specify dates and such. But what I've heard that there's flags that can be used with photos, and so I want to be able to view multiple flags. So, for instance, date, location, and say people, and be able to sort by that, or be able to extract a subset of my photos using those flags.
Sure. It's called tagging, and you're going to tag the photos. Unfortunately, OneDrive is really meant to store files, not really photos. So what we want to do is we're going to have to get all those files out of OneDrive, and then we're going to upload them into Google Photos. And so once they're in Google Photos, that's the easiest way to do it. There's a way to tag and label photos. It makes it really easy to sort and retrieve specific photos of different events. So like, let's say you wanted pictures of, say somebody by the name of Mary at the family reunion in Florida. So you could just say, show me all the pictures of Mary at the family reunion in Florida, and then all those pictures of Mary would pop up, because it also does some facial identification and facial recognition. And then, so if you select one picture and you say, oh, this is Mary, and then it will come back and say, tell me all the other pictures of Mary, and you say, yes, yes, yes. And then suddenly the algorithm will start learning that every time they see these characteristics that it's Mary. And then the location is embedded in a lot of these digital photos, so that location is already there. But you can go ahead and put additional descriptions in those photos too if you wanted to. And then once you tag them, again, that's where you can view your photos by the date, the album, the location, the people, whatever it may be. But you're going to have to get those photos out of OneDrive, because that's not really the tool that's going to allow you to do all of this. Make sense?
Yes, it does, and something I'm more than willing to do.
It does take some work. So here, I'm going to put you on hold, Tom, and we're going to email you over some instructions on how to do everything that I just said, step by step. So this way you're like, okay, so here's how you get your photos up there, and you add a description, and then how you can save multiple tags, and how you tag these, then how you retrieve it based on these criteria. It's really quite simple, but does require some upfront efforting, because we're going to get those photos off of Microsoft and load them into Google Photos, which I think is just, well, it's a Google product. It works. It's phenomenal. And I know you can use other products like Adobe Lightroom or Adobe Photo, but if you're looking for just a really easy, quick way to get this done, I think that's the best solution. And Tom, thank you for your call. But keep in mind, you may not need to use these third-party tools, because, for example, on Windows, you can use the Photos app to scan your device for duplicates and then remove them. If you're on a Mac, love this, the new iOS gives you a whole folder that just says duplicates. And mine had, I'm almost embarrassed to say this and tell you guys this. I had over 3,500 duplicate photos in there. Yikes. Google Photos, since we've been talking about that, will automatically group similar photos together and then suggest which ones that you can delete. So there are tools out there to start getting rid of those duplicates. All right. You've used the self-checkout. I know you have. I have too. I want to make sure that you're doing it the right way, because the self-checkout lane has risen by 10% over the last 5 years. And there have been real instances of shoppers accused of stealing just because they forgot to scan an item. Now, one woman was accused of stealing paper plates in Walmart just because she forgot them. So a lawyer by the name of Justin Sparks told the Sun that you should huddle over your machine. And when you're scanning, you want to scan very slowly, so all those eyeballs and cameras can see that you're not actually stealing. And also put down any distractions like your phone. It's easy to forget to scan something when you got so much going on. Hey, listen, thanks for joining us, and don't forget to tell 3 friends and family members about the Kim Komando Show, because knowledge is power. If you own a home, listen up. This is scary. The FBI is warning about a crime on the rise: home title theft. And it doesn't happen the way you might think. No break-ins, no stolen keys, just a forged signature on a single piece of paper filed with the county. In minutes, criminals can transfer the title out of your name, then use your ownership to drain your equity or even sell your home. The worst part, most people don't know what's happening until they get collection or foreclosure notices in the mail. That's why I trust Home Title Lock. When you visit HometitleLock.com/Kim, you'll get a free title history report and a 14-day free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection, including 24/7 monitoring of your home's title, urgent alerts to changes, and if fraud does happen. Their U.S.-based restoration team will work to restore your title, covering costs up to $1 million. Don't wait. Protect your home and equity today. Get your free 14-day trial at HometitleLock.com/Kim. That's HometitleLock.com/Kim.
Thank you so much for listening to the Kim Komando Show podcast, and this is for the weekend of February 25th, 2023. We're up to hour 2.
I always like to start with something interesting, and yes, we're a year into the Ukraine-Russia war, but here's a little fun fact that you may not know, and it has to do with YouTube. Yes, the Ukraine is DIYing a war. Well, let me explain. When a Ukrainian soldier, they don't know how to do a certain thing, they actually hop onto YouTube, and they're getting instructions on just about anything, like how to dig a trench, how to fly a drone, and even how to fire an anti-tank missile. those instructions, right, are sitting there right on YouTube. I mean, wow, you really can learn anything on YouTube. You really can learn anything online, really. I mean, I attended an online class because I wanted to learn how to be a pirate. Yes, I want to be a pirate. It was actually a sort of a webinar. Ooh, yes. Okay, it's the Kim Komando Show. It's America's largest, most trusted show and podcast about all things digital. And if you're a new listener, I'm so glad that you're here. And if you're a regular listener, welcome back. You can find my award-winning show on over 425 top stations across the United States. We're streaming in your favorite radio app. Just search for my last name, Komando with a K. And you can find us as a webcast and also as a podcast 24/7, 3 months worth of archives over at getkim.com. And a special thank you goes out to our servicemen and women in the Army, the Marines, the Navy, the Air Force, the Coast Guard, and Space Force who are protecting our great nation and listening to the Kim Komando Show on the American Forces Network Radio. Now, I'm sure you have at least a few questions that I can lend a hand to. And our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. Or if you want, you can just email me your question. The best place to do that is old school over at the website. Hit komando.com, and in the upper right-hand corner, there's a link that says Email Kim. I mean, all throughout the day, I go to all these different websites so that this way I make sure that I'm up to date on all things digital so I can pass things along to you that I think that you should know about living in today's tech world, because we're all living a tech world, whether we want it or not. So this is part of the show where I like to talk about your wallet, consumer tech, things that are being upgraded or discontinued or maybe end of life. We're going to start by talking about the cost of the internet, because let me tell you, it's going up. And I'm not talking about your internet connection at home. I'm talking about the apps that you're using, because with social media, it used to be easy. You would use their app, you'd watch their ads, and then that would pay your way. But now they want your money. Facebook and Instagram are planning to charge you $12 a month for basic service. Yeah, I know. There was that rumor going around years and years ago, be like, oh, no, that's a scam. Don't pass it along. Well, no, it's true. They're going to start charging $12 a month. For $15 a month, they're going to monitor your account to fight the hackers. Plus, guess what? You get customer service support. Yes, you get to speak to a person for $15 a month. Twitter Blue verifies you're for $11 a month. If you buy it on the web, it's only $8 a month, by the way. Snapchat wants $4 a month to allow you to see photos and graphics. Dating app Hinge wants $60 a month. Tinder is working on a $500 a year plan just to use the app. But wait, there's more. Uber is about to charge you $10 a month to simply use the app and summon a ride. You still have to pay for the ride. What this means is that all these other apps are going to start tacking on monthly fees. You just wait. Just wait and see. It's going to be all these apps saying, okay, $3 a month, $5 a month, $12 a month. So you're going to have to really, really decide and watch that budget. Number 2 on our list, finally, a fix from Alexa. Amazon Echoes, you've got all those speakers everywhere. And it's always been a pain in the neck to have this music follow you from speaker to speaker and have multi-room setup. But it just got easier. So no longer did you have to set up these clunky groups that you have to yell at to turn on. Now, Amazon recently updated their Alexa mobile app to allow you to manage and move your music between various Echo devices with just a few taps, no more voice commands. So how do you set it up? Well, the steps are kind of cumbersome, but just know that you're going to open the app and select devices. And then there's a brand new option that says combined speakers. And from there, you can create a group and name it whatever you want. It's pretty intuitive, and it's simple to set up. Speaking of Amazon Alexa, this is a true story. A friend of mine told me that his Amazon Echo was just like his ex-wife. And I'm like, Jason, how can that even be? He says to me, Alexa listens to everything. And like my ex-wife, just comes across as a know-it-all. Thought that was really funny. All right, number 3, shop like a billionaire. You can buy a doorbell cam for $12, memory cards for $3, wireless headphones, $15. And if you saw all of these for sale on Amazon, you'd be like, wow, what's going on with this? Well, there's a site called Temu, and they spent $7 million in Super Bowl ads so that everybody would check it out. And it's now the most downloaded shopping app in the U.S., beating out Walmart and Target. It's been downloaded 24 million times since it was released this past September. So what's the catch with all these low prices? Well, according to Temu, they say they're cutting out the middleman and they're allowing Chinese vendors to sell directly to American consumers, and everything gets shipped straight from China. Now, if you look at their Better Business Bureau rating, it's 1.5 stars. Wow. Customers say, like, the products never arrived, they're damaged, inferior quality. What do you expect? A doorbell cam for $12. So you might be able to shop like a billionaire, but you get what you pay for. And this coming in at number 4, watch out, the scammers have a new ploy. If you ever thought it was easy for scammers to set up a website and steal money from you, it just got a lot easier. GoDaddy, the big web hosting company, they have just launched a new tool that it sounds pretty good. You can accept payments without having a website or an online store. All you need is a link, and it directs you to your GoDaddy payment account. It's called GoDaddy Payments. They say it's aimed at small business owners and entrepreneurs who maybe don't have all the resources to create this big e-commerce website. So all you have to do is register a new domain and start accepting payments from customers instantly. You create kind of a custom payment page and a link that includes a product, a description, a buy now button. But here's where things get really iffy, because that link can be shared via email, social media, or text message. So online storefronts, the websites, that's normally how we tell if a product is legit or not. So be on the lookout for folks who are just suddenly asking for money, or you just see this, you're like a GoDaddy payout. Just make sure that you really, really know who you're giving your money to. And finally, this coming in at number 5. Oh my gosh, I never thought I would see it. Talking about dead birds flying in the sky. What? Dead birds flying in the sky? Yeah, okay. So, how like we have those fake owls to kind of make sure that the birds don't come and crap up the place? Well, the New Mexico Institute for Mining and Technology, they have a great idea. They say that drones should be disguised as birds to make them more appealing. So what they're doing is they're taking dead birds and they're putting drones on the inside of them so that when the drones are flying, they look like birds. Now, the real goal behind this is they say that this way they want to observe wildlife without disturbing them, because a drone makes all these weird noises, right? And it scares away all the animals. So with these dead bird drones, they can blend in and not be detected. And they say it's a sneaky way to spy on animals and revolutionize the field of wildlife conservation. And they can be used by the military and all this other good stuff. But, it's really not entirely new. I mean, we have seen drones that look like birds before, but just not dead birds with drones on the inside of them. Wow. I mean, I know what you're thinking. No single dead bird can defeat me, right? But 2 can. All right, coming up in our money tip, if you ever thought, like, if only I could make money online with my own business, let me tell you, we have all the steps that you need to create your online resale business. And we have all of your phone calls, and you have me, Kim Commando. Hey, our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And if you're not already getting our daily tech hacks, well, make sure that you do. Sign up right now. Join over 400,000 people who get them every single day. And it's 100% free. You can unsubscribe anytime that you want. Head over to commando.com/getfreetips. That's commando.com/getfreetips. Okay, we all know that losing someone you love, it can be just earth-shattering when they pass. You do everything you can to keep their memories alive, and you want to share special anecdotes and sayings and things with your family members and friends. But you're limited, right, in what you can do. I mean, you have a few lines on a gravesite that doesn't say anything. It just says their birth date and their death date, and that's about it. When you look at it, you're like, wow, this person did so much more in life, and how can I tell the whole world about them? Well, that's when I thought this was so incredibly interesting that I just wanted to pass it along to you guys and gals. There's a guy by the name of Michael Bork, and he found a way to change all this. When his father passed away back in 2017, he wanted to honor him in a special way. His father was a vet, a carpenter, of course, a father, and a great husband. Mike had so many stories to share, and he didn't want them to be forgotten. So that's when he came up with this innovative, wonderful idea. He thought to himself, why not create a website that showcases his dad's life and create a QR code that connects to that site? Those QR codes. And then affix that QR code to a gravestone. So anybody who's walking by they can say, hey, I wonder what this person is about. It's so fabulous. What a great idea. So joining us today on the Kim Komando Show is inventor Michael Bork to share his story. Michael, it's so great to meet you. I'm so glad that you're here with us. First of all, tell us a little bit about your dad.
Oh, thank you so much. It's such a thrill to be on your show, Kim. I've been a fan of your show for years. And in fact, I've helped my dad learn how to use the computer from listening to your show. So kind of a way it comes all back. But my dad was a carpenter, a simple man, but he was in many ways a genius. He was too cheap and poor to hire anybody to fix the house. So it was my job to hold the flashlight as we fixed everything around the house. He was a carpenter. He could make anything. And he taught me so many things as I was growing up, how to think differently. And when something broke in our house, we made a new one out of wood. We went trash picking. We made new stuff. And so I've carried that along and throughout my career. And it's just a wonderful way to celebrate his life and his story, as you just told, through this QR code. In fact, it was at one point when I started my own company, my dad helped me put the company together. And it was a 3-year journey, but he passed away during that time, as you mentioned. And I thought, would it be interesting if I could put a way to memorize him? So I bought his domain name for 20 years for life from GoDaddy, which is kind of ironic. And I printed a QR code out of plastic. I had a 3D printer and I had skills. And so I made a plastic that was actually glows in the dark. It's printed out of an ABS material. And I fixed it to his gravesite. And anybody that could go to his website could scan that and see his story and be connected. And I decided that I would share this on my social media. And that post has gone viral. Over 2.5 million people around the world have scanned that QR code. And in fact, because I've connected it with Google Analytics, something else I learned from you, Kim, I know where everybody in the world who has scanned that QR code. And he would be thrilled to know that several people in Korea, where he fought as a very brave veteran, scanned it there. So it's just it's very interesting. And now I found you.
Well, when I was very close to my mom, and maybe you know that from listening to the show. And when she died, I was just, beside myself. Even I break down still. But I thought, when I saw your story, I thought, oh my gosh, I would so love to do this for my mother.
Let's do it.
Because
there's nothing stopping us. This is so simple. It's just as simple as creating a website. Right.
Well, but I was just thinking, it'd be so wonderful if I could do this for her, because you're right. When you see, it's not just your parents, you see anybody's gravestone, and it has their name and a birth date and the day that they died, and you sit there wow, there was just so much more to this individual than just that, and then when you walk away and you think. And you go there and you visit afterwards or whatever, it's still like I just wish the whole world would know how wonderful that she was. And so you put this on just for your dad. Did you think it would turn into what it did?
No, I never thought it would turn into. In fact, I think what I did was quite simple, but it's just one of those things that maybe no one ever thought of. I'll say it like this, it's not often you find yourself in a graveyard until you've lost someone. And you're walking around and you are wondering, who are these people? Why is this gravestone bigger than the other? How come I can't read this one? Boy, I wish I knew more about these people. And so I'm telling you, if I saw a QR code in a graveyard, I'm going to scan it. And I think if more graveyards had QR codes, boy, that could be a very interesting way to tell stories and get people connected.
You do bring up an interesting point, because when you do walk around, you're like, I know I do. I wonder what if that person was, and wonder what they did. And, they died so young. I wonder why. Or they lived to 110. I wonder if they have this magical herb, or they never smoke, or they never drink. Although I can't really say that, because my grandmother, she lived to almost 88. And let me tell you something. She drank a 6-pack of Pabst Blue Ribbon every day and smoked a pack of Pall Malls. Okay. And so, but it was like, she lived well into her 80s. But it is interesting. So do you get any pushback from the cemeteries themselves as far as putting that code on the stone?
No, actually. In fact, I've been contacted by several that actually want me to do this for several people. So I'm going to sort of do an experiment. If I got 2.5 million people from just a single picture on LinkedIn, I'm sure that we can make more codes for more people and just make this sort of a simple experiment and see what happens. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that want to know who these people are. You lose someone, just that story you told a minute ago is something that I believe you could put on this type of a site. You could go to the website, you could scan the code, and you could go there and leave a memory. And that's what the system that I built here does, is you can actually visit the grave. Not only can you learn about the person, but you can leave a memory there too. And all the other really people can subscribe to that. Yeah, imagine someone that's elder sitting at home getting a message that John visited the grave and left some flowers. Maybe he donated to some fund. So there's so many interesting things that we could do with this, and I'm really interested in connecting with others who want to do the same thing. I'm working with this company Aftercloud, who's actually building sort of the technology that this connects to. Something interesting about the QR code that I have built is it's dynamic. So if any time I want to change where that QR code goes to, I can do that from the comfort of my home. It's not a dead QR code. That's kind of funny, isn't it? So it's very interesting, and I think more people will be interested in this, and I'm hoping that maybe some of your viewers will be interested in doing this. Maybe all veterans should have this. So people
let me ask you a question, Mike. Is this something that you could patent?
Well, there is some patents in this, and I'm interested in patenting, but I'm more interested in the idea of doing it itself. So I am working with this company Aftercloud, and they've built this technology, and there is some intellectual property, but I'm also a software developer and product designer and developer, so I actually plan to actually help them build that part of the application so that you can drop photos, you can drop virtual flowers, you could send messages to people. I actually believe with artificial intelligence and machine learning, we could put QR codes everywhere, and we can let people fill in those blanks. If you notice on someone's, you mentioned a minute ago about the gravestones, there's a dash. And it's that dash that needs to be told. It's what's inside of a person's lifetime, their span. And I like the idea of maybe going into that dash with this QR code and immersing that experience for people.
So this is totally off the charts, Mike. But, if you're looking for an investor, I'd love to see a business plan.
Sure, absolutely.
I mean, I can be your little shark, although I'm a nice shark. I'm a baby shark.
You are. No. Well, I was listening to the advice you gave a while ago. I built websites my whole life. I have all this technology that I've learned from people like you and other people. And I'm out there teaching people. Look at this thing here. I 3D printed this. I'm not only, making QR codes, but I one day got 20,000 followers on LinkedIn, and I made my own gold-plated award. Isn't that cool? This was designed on a computer. Cool. And I like to show people how to invent things. So you might call myself an inventor, but I'm really someone out there that's trying to help push ideas forward. I think what we've done here was very interesting. Dead people are very interesting suddenly.
Well, pushing ideas forward, it's an idea that I think makes 100% sense. And it's remarkable that we haven't thought of it sooner. And I think once you get that product to market, it's going to go like gangbusters.
I want to show your audience, if they haven't seen the QR code, I've got it on my phone here. If I see if I can get that in your view there. Yeah. That's the picture I posted, and that's the picture that found us together. That's why we found each other. But I have so many ideas on top of this. My brother died of ALS. He had the misfortune of being able to plan his own going away party. But imagine collecting all those memories that you put together when someone dies. they're often left on a server underneath someone's desk at a funeral home. And I'm terrified of when those servers go down. They're always running Windows NT, Windows 98. I mean, come on. So the idea is to get all these put into a place that will stay there forever. And that's really what AfterCloud and I are doing. We think we're building a platform that's going to be very, very innovative and very, very exciting. And why don't we make a QR code for your mom? Let's do it.
Mike, you know what? Let's do it.
It's easy. Let's do it. And then let's show everybody.
Yeah, let's do that. Absolutely. 100%, Michael. Let's do that. Thanks for telling your story, and congratulations on your pending success. I'm sure you're going to knock it out of the ballpark. And I think it's really fascinating that we first met through your dad, and your dad is once again bringing us together. That is true.
And my dad, he could never figure out computers. I was always trying to teach him left click, right click, double click, and you know what that's like. But you really out there helping people. So I'm so proud that I found you this way, and like you said, through my dad, and that we have this connection, because I've been listening to you since I was a kid. So, I don't know, it's full circle for me, and I hope to come back on one day and let's show people how we created your QR code. Maybe we do this together.
I'd love to do that.
Let's skip Shark Tank and go right to the top. My dad used to say, he would be saying right now, this is one of those products that people are dying to use.
Put-em-bump. And they are. All right. Thanks for being here, Mike. Thanks for sharing your story. We'll talk offline. 100%.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you, Kim.
Okay. All right. Coming up, we have our trivia that you don't want to miss. And this week, it's really hard here on the Kim Komando Show. That's right. It's time for Commanding the Tech World Trivia, because we've all seen how the world has changed because of technology. But maybe you don't know some of the backstories, the hidden fun facts. So when playing Commanding the Tech World Trivia here on the Kim Komando Show, you really need to think. Really think. And our very special guest contestant this week is Roy from Charlottesville, Virginia. Hello there, Roy.
Hello there, Kim.
Thanks for playing along with us. Now, in case you do win, I just want to let you know that a lot of people want this prize, but you can only get it if you win Commanding the Tech World Trivia, and that is the most valuable Kim Komando Show fanny pack. I'm sure you're excited about to get that, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. You ready to play along?
Okay.
All right. We're going to be talking about Jeff Bezos. You know him, the founder of Amazon, worth a cool, depending upon the day, $100 and maybe $30 billion. Well, he's known to have a few quirks and unique habits in his personal and professional life. And so the trivia question is about these quirks. Now, I'm going to give you 4 things about Jeff Bezos, and it's up to you to pick which is the one that is not true. Okay, so there's 4, and so you have to pick the one that is not true. You ready to play?
Okay.
All right. You don't sound confident. Come on, Roy. Come on. All right.
I'm confident.
All right. So A, right? Number 1. So which one is not true? It's called the 2-pizza rule. Jeff Bezos instituted a 2-pizza rule at Amazon, which states that no team should be so large that it cannot be fed by 2 pizzas, or about 8 people. Okay? Second one about Jeff Bezos is what he calls the regret minimization framework. And he said that he likes to make decisions by imagining himself at age 80 and then asking what he would regret by not doing whatever that decision is. Or is it C, supercars? As soon as Jeff Bezos hit billionaire status the first time, he went on this massive car buying spree, purchasing in one day a Ferrari, a Lamborghini, and a Bugatti. Or is it D, grilled octopus? Grilled octopus is a source of protein, vitamins, and minerals. It's low in fat and calories. Jeff Bezos has it for breakfast almost every single day, even going as far as to ask his assistants to track down the dish in whatever city he happens to be. Okay, so one of these fun facts about Jeff Bezos is not true. So is it the 2-pizza rule, which is A, B, what he calls the regret minimization framework, that when he looks back at age 80, C, supercars. He went out and bought 3 supercars in one day. Or is it D, that he likes to eat grilled octopus for breakfast? So, which of these facts about Jeff Bezos is not true? Roy, remember, you're playing for the official Kim Commando Show fanny pack, so I know the pressure's on.
Yes, it is. All right. Now, the two pizza rule makes sense. You wouldn't want a team so large that, not everybody can give their opinion. So I believe that one.
Right.
The 80 rule, that sounds reasonable to me because then, I want to make sure that I've accomplished whatever I want to do by the time I'm 80. The supercar thing. Why would anybody go out and buy a Ferrari, a Bugatti, and what was the third car?
A Lamborghini.
Why would anybody do that? Or the grilled octopus for breakfast. People do weird things, my daughter says. So which one do you think it is? The grilled octopus, you think? No? The grilled octopus is so weird. That's got to be true. All right, let's go with the car thing. Bad investments. Okay, let's go with the car thing. Yep, we'll go with the car.
Okay, so we're going to go. The one statement that's not true is that as soon as he hit billionaire status, he went on a massive supercar buying spree. So let's see what the judges say. Is Roy correct or is he wrong?
I'm always right.
You won. That's right. That's right. As a matter of fact, up until recently, Jeff Bezos drove a Honda Accord. Up until about 5 years ago, every single day he drove a Honda Accord because he's known as being frugal, right?
That's right.
But, so grilled octopus. I don't know if that would be my breakfast of choice, but apparently he likes to eat it.
Not for breakfast.
No.
Mm.
All right. So, Roy, I know you have a question for me, and I think even with your co-contestant there, how can I lend a hand?
Well, okay. So my daughter is an Eagle Scout, and she will be attending World Jamboree in South Korea. So she has a
first
cell
of
phone.
all, you need to stop. First of all, you need to stop right there, Roy.
Okay. All right.
That is such a major accomplishment.
Oh,
I'm going to give her a round of applause. You go, girlfriend. That's awesome. That's great.
Yes, it was. It was, and she's 16, going on 17 here in like 3 weeks. And so she's still active in her scout group. In fact, she is the SPL, Senior Patrol Leader, and she wants to fill the other side of her merit badge sash. How can we, wonderful parents that we are, keep tabs on our wonderful scout who's going to be halfway around the world from us?
Yeah, right. What kind of phone does she have?
She has a Galaxy A13.
Okay. And then you said she's going to South Korea?
Yes.
And then who's your current carrier?
T-Mobile.
Okay, good. Like many carriers, T-Mobile offers plans that allow you to use your phone in other countries just as if you were in that country. Now, there are some caveats with that, is that you have to look at the plan. Like, so, for example, it doesn't include data. And sometimes it'll say unlimited until you get to a certain point. So you want to make sure that you put the app – I'll tell you how to get all this, but you can put an app on it to track your data usage. And it also says texting would be unlimited. Normally there's a cost for talking, which is about 25 cents a minute. So that's the easiest way. Now, if you want to, you could buy a local SIM card. You can buy them at the airport. Local stores are really inexpensive. How long is she going to be there for?
She'll be there for about 2 weeks.
All right, so that's long enough that you might want to get a local SIM card. Totally up to you. We'll tell you exactly how to do. I can give you a link that will tell you which SIM card that you should get, and also look at her T-Mobile plan as well. So you guys can do all that research off to the side. And it's always the cheapest when you're traveling overseas is to get that local SIM card, because then you can use that phone to make local calls and you can use data. And that's really what she's going to be doing a lot of, is using data, because let's just face it, we hardly ever talk anymore, right? But if
true.
if she wanted to talk on her phone with you and she had that unlimited data plan because she's local, well, that's when she can always use apps like WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger, where she can make phone calls with you, and so you don't have to worry about that 25 cents a minute. Of course, wherever she is, there's just some basic rules that you're going to want to use Wi-Fi wherever possible, because many places offer free Wi-Fi, so that also cuts down on data usage. Turn off automatic app updates, any type of app that's running in the background, like weather apps, because that's also going to save on data. And then also you want to avoid using these data-intensive apps like social media, online gaming, video streaming, good things like that. And then, if you wanted to, what I would also look into is if her particular, I'm not sure if her phone has it, but, Samsung makes trackers, as well as you can use a tile tracker that works internationally. And so if she was cool with that, maybe what you want to do is pop one in her luggage just in case they do lose her luggage. Because, not that air carriers ever do that. No, I know. What? I have to tell you a quick story, Roy. I was traveling I went from Phoenix to Rome, and we went on British Airways. And we got to Rome, and our bags were not there. Okay. And I'm like, where's the luggage? Well, there's no luggage. And so just at that moment, that was when British Airways, they were having like this whole total meltdown with their whole conveyor belt system. And that's exactly when to our room came breakfast with a UK newspaper called the Daily Mail. Honest to goodness, Roy, on the front page of the Daily Mail was my suitcase with everybody else's. So I called up British Airways and I said, you don't find my bag, but I know where mine is right now. And it's on the front page of the Daily Mail. I can even, I'll circle it for you. Because they took a picture of all these suitcases, like where there's like a sea of suitcases. But now what's nice is you can put a tile tracker. If you have AirTags or Apple, you want to use an Apple AirTag. So you put that in the bag so you always know where it is. But I am so incredibly proud of your daughter. I think that is an amazing accomplishment. I was a scout leader for so many years, and I know how hard it is to get to that Eagle Scout rating. And you know what? She's just awesome. She's awesome.
Yeah, as if her head wasn't big enough. Now she's over here going, it was nothing.
Well, then I think, Roy, you know what? It was nothing. I think she needs a new car. I really do.
Oh, no, wait a minute now. Let's not go too crazy.
Let's not go overboard. Let's not at all. So, Roy, hang on the line. We're going to send you off some links so this way you can check on your T-Mobile plan, see if it's compatible with your phone and all that other good stuff. But just a bottom line, a local SIM card is really the way to go, especially if you're going to be traveling for, say, more than 2 or 3 days, because then you can really save some money and then start using the local data plan in order to keep in touch with your family members and friends back home. All right, this week's money tip, I'm telling you right now, it really should have been a book that we sold on Amazon, because we go through the tricks and tips for starting your own online resale business so that you can make money online. I'm talking about from start to finish, from the beginning, like where do you find all this stuff? How will you be selling it? What are your goals? This is going to be a full-time or a part-time gig. Then we talk about sourcing, dig through your attic. Hit the pavement, go to Goodwill shops, trade shows, garage sales, yard sales, estate sales, store liquidations, retail clearances. And then how about online sourcing? That's where you want to look at different wholesale websites and reputable sellers. And then how do you actually profit from this? How do you price it? That's what I'm saying. All of this is in this tip that we have over on our site. Maybe you want to work with your hands and produce one-of-a-kind products. And then how do you sell that? Maybe there's partnerships. How do you create your listings? What is a well-crafted listing? I mean, how do you describe the item's condition? This tip is about 10 pages long. So if you are thinking about getting into an online resale business, or if you know somebody who wants to, point their direction over to commando.com and then hit the link that says Kim Show. It's really phenomenal. Oh, still to come, I have more phone calls, but also a Google warning about the estimated photo locations. Yeah. It's really creepy on Android and iOS. And, of course, you have more of me, Kim Commando. All right, Denise in Orlando, Florida. Glad to have you with us.
Well, I bought a new laptop because the old one I had, the operating system was old. I was told by a tech that I needed to upgrade. So I bought one, kind of a mid-range, around $500 or $600. paid a little extra to have them change put my data from the old computer, all my information files, onto the new computer, because I didn't know how to do that. So they did it, and now I've got the old computer back. I don't know how to dispose of it. I want to be safe because I'm sure stuff's in there, and I don't know what to do or who to give it to or how to get rid of what's in there and know that it's being safely disposed of, the information and then the unit itself. Can you give me any advice?
Well, here's the deal. First of all, really smart in having somebody transfer the files from one place to the other, because I've heard from so many people who have done it the wrong way over the years and then lost their stuff. So now that you have your old computer, what you want to do is what's called, this is the technical term, wiping the hard drive. And basically what it does is it removes all your personal data from the hard drive, but you have to use special software in order to do that. You just can't go over and do to a prompt, remove or delete del asterisk dot asterisk. I mean, those days are long gone. So there's special data wiping software. One is called DBAN. That's a letter D and then BAN. The other one is Eraser. And how they work, it's pretty innovative, is that it overwrites all the data on the hard drive that makes it unrecoverable. See, a lot of people don't realize that when you just remove a file on a hard drive, the file is actually there. What is removed is just the flag. So a flag will go up and say, okay, you can save some stuff over here. So unless you overwrite that data, that data can be written, it can be recovered, and somebody can actually see what was there. So again, a couple of programs that you want to use is DBAN or Eraser. Then once you wipe the hard drive, you can donate it. You can try to sell it on eBay. A lot of retailers like Office Depot and others, they have free recycling programs. And you can also check with local charities and maybe schools and churches and synagogues, because they might accept donations of old computers. You can find links to DBAN and Eraser over at Komando.com. And Denise, thank you for your call. I know some of you may be saying, well, what if I just throw my PC in the trash? Okay, well, there's all these environmental hazards, because there's lead, mercury, cadmium, which can leak into the soil and water if they're not disposed of properly. But most importantly is really your data, because I want to make sure that you wipe that hard drive before you get rid of any old computer. All right, you're using Google Photos, or maybe you're sharing photos online. When you take a picture, there's all kinds of hidden data behind it, including your precise location. So what if you take a screenshot of a photo online and somebody can feed that into Google? Well, guess what? They might know your exact location. So Google knows this is a wee bit creepy. That's right. So they made an announcement this past week that they're going to stop using location history to estimate locations. But that location still may be in there, as they say they estimate missing locations. So in your Google Photo settings, I want you to make sure that you turn off location tracking. If you need those steps, how to do all that, we have it over at the website, which 24/7, don't forget, I'm always at Komando.com. That's Komando.com.
Thank you again for listening to the Kim Komando Show podcast. This is for the weekend of February 25th, 2023. We appreciate you being here, and here is hour 3.
I always like to start with something interesting, and this fits the bill. McDonald's, I don't know if you know this, but for a short time, they actually sold a Happy Meal for adults. You had the Big Mac in there, fries, nope, not a beer. The adult Happy Meal actually had toys inside. No, not that kind of toy. It was maybe a small Grimace, the Hamburglar, or maybe Birdie. And then they had a mascot called Cactus Buddy. I never knew that, but that also may have been in the adult Happy Meal. Well, there's one selling right now for over $300,000. Wow, $300,000. And in the listing it says, "We'll sell fast." Well, $300,000 for an adult Happy Meal. You really better be loving it. And on that happy note, welcome. It's the Kim Komando Show. It's America's largest, most trusted show and podcast about all things digital. And you're about ready to get more tech smarts, because now every single thing is a tech thing. And if you're a new listener, so glad that you found us. Where you been all these years? And if you're a regular listener, welcome back. Now you can find my award-winning show on over 425 top stations across the United States. We're streaming in your favorite radio app, and you can also find us as a podcast, webcast on demand 24/7 over at getkim.com. And you can also catch the Kim Komando Show on the American Forces Network Radio. Just a quick reminder, you can always send me your questions via the website, little old school, Komando.com. And in the upper right-hand corner, there's a link that says Email Kim. And I'd also like to thank Total AV for helping to make this show possible. You can get continuous antivirus protection and block malicious websites with Total AV's industry-leading antivirus security suite. My listeners get 85% off the first year on an annual plan, but you have to go to this address, protectwithkim.com. Once again, that's protectwithkim.com. All right, every single day I drop by at least 30 different websites to make sure that I'm up to date on all things digital so I can keep you up to date on all things digital. And this is part of the show where I like to talk about numbers because you see these numbers behind the headlines and what really are they? So here's an interesting little tidbit. You know who's buying and driving cars the least? What generation is that? That's pretty shocking. Gen Z. The Gen Zers were born from 1996 to 2012, and it seems like most of them are not getting their licenses before the age of 18 anymore. And Gen Zers spend about $7,000 a year on transportation in a year on Uber. That's right. So Mercedes-Benz says, okay, for all these rich kids that are Ubering around, why don't we develop a car just for them? So they think that they have this massive, great, blockbuster idea. Mercedes-Benz is coming out with, I kid you not, the TikTok car. Mercedes-Benz is teaming up with TikTok, and they're going to integrate TikTok totally into the Mercedes-Benz E-Class cars, right on the car's touchscreen. I mean, after all, Gen Zers, they love TikTok. So in these TikTok cars, you can watch TikTok in the front seat. With voice commands, you can see the latest TikTok videos without taking your eyes off the road. Good idea? Probably not. The passenger screen, though, has a limited field of view, which means the driver can't watch TikTok videos being played on that screen, thankfully. Wow. So what were you doing at the time of the accident? I was so into this dance on TikTok. I just loved it. You know, I was going to tell my son, who is a Gen Zer, a joke about Social Security. But then I realized he's probably not going to get it. Get it? Yeah. Okay. Number 2, $900 a month. What? For a car subscription? Yes. Hyundai thinks it's cracked the code on subscriptions. They've announced that they have the Evolve Plus subscription program, which means it's only on electric vehicles, but now you can pay a single fee that covers the car, insurance, and maintenance, and you can cancel anytime. So it's like you're subscribing to a car, and when you don't want it anymore, you just give it back. It's not like a lease or anything like that. You're not bound by any type of, say, 2 years or whatever it may be. So anyway, it starts at $700 a month. Then it shoots up to $900 for their upgraded, iconic, they say, 5 EV. Wow, $900 a month for an electric vehicle. Wow, I don't think so. All right, let's move on. Number 3, listen up, world travelers. This is for you. What if I told you that you could take the internet with you wherever you go in the world? This is really remarkable technology. SpaceX Starlink's global roaming service is what they're calling it. For $200 a month, after you pay the introductory fee of $600 and get the gear, you can connect to the internet from anywhere in the world with just one subscription. This way you don't have to deal with all these different plans and providers. But if you're a world traveler, this is really something. Now, $200 sounds like a lot, but it's really not when you consider all of the data roaming charges and what these packages are. And there are going to be some regulatory challenges in getting it in every country, especially in countries that require local partnerships or licenses for foreign companies to provide internet services. But imagine if I told you this, 10 years ago, that for $200 a month, anywhere in the world, wherever you go, you're just going to carry this little modem, part of this little router, and you're going to be able to get online. No matter where you go, just carry this with you for $200 a month. That's really something. All right, moving on to number 4, $13.4 million spent on digital goods. What's this? What are exactly digital goods? First of all, these are when you're playing the games, and especially with kids' games, that they want to be maybe distinctive characters. So they buy scarves and hats and knives and boots or whatever it is, and it's big business. These are what called microtransactions. So let's move on to a game that the kids are playing that I never understood because the graphics are so basic. I'm talking about Roblox. A lot of kids are playing this game. And if your kids are, they love it, and it's filled with these boxy Lego type characters. So it's free to play, and it averages about, get this, 56 million players a day. Wow, that's a lot. In 2022, they spent 49 billion hours playing Roblox. Gosh, These kids need to go outside a little bit more. So where does the money come from? Because, again, the game is free. So let's go back to the beginning of those digital goods. In the last business quarter, folks playing Roblox bought $13.4 million worth of digital goods. Okay, these are virtual goods. The company doesn't need to manufacture, ship anything. These are virtual goods. Hats, clothes, weapons for your character. It's an average of, they say, $22 per player. I'm playing Roblox. Speaking of games, you can tell one of these to the kids. How does Mario communicate after he dies in the game? How does Mario communicate after he dies in the game? Anybody? He uses a Luigi board. Oh, I thought that was good. All right, and last, this coming in at number 5. Look at all the books that ChatGPT is writing. Yes, that's right. Not Stephen King or Shakespeare or anybody else there at the top of the list. ChatGPT is all over Amazon. More than 200 books are credited to its name in the Amazon bookstore. So some of the books are guides about how to use ChatGPT, made by ChatGPT. One's called ChatGPT on ChatGPT. The AI explains itself. It's an autobiography. It's $12 on Amazon. There are also kids' books written by ChatGPT, and then they're illustrated by, can you guess, AI programs. Numbers growing, which, we've talked about it here on the show that if you're a writer, boy, ChatGPT is really going to give you a ride for the money. So you have to make sure that you're always opinionated in your pieces. And if you're just writing manuals and stuff like that, ChatGPT is totally going to take your job away. I mean, I wonder how long it's going to take for ChatGPT to write, say, the guide to all the world's great beers. I wonder if ChatGPT could do that. Well, I guess it depends how many drafts they have to go through. All right, coming up in just a few moments, if you're using Windows or Mac, how to get some important disk space back. And, of course, we have our tip that you don't want to miss. And this week it's all about where to put the security cameras in your house. And Allie's going to be joining us, our amazing content queen. We're going to be talking about ChatGPT alternatives. And, of course, you have more of me, Kim Commando. Hey, our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And just a reminder, if you're not getting our daily tech hacks, we'll join over 400,000 people that do. Head over to commando.com/getfreetips. Once again, that's commando.com/getfreetips. It's 100% free. You can unsubscribe at any time. That's commando.com/getfreetips. All right, Michael in Detroit, Michigan, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. What's going on?
Well, I took your advice a while back. There was an article that you sent out about removing yourself from websites, which I thought was great to ensure privacy.
Right.
And my question is, as a physician, we are on all sorts of other websites, not of our own volition, right, where people can go on there and they talk about the doctor in the office and stuff like that. And my question is, if we don't want to be on websites, including something like that, is there a way to be taken off of those? And the reason I ask is I did ask one in particular. I said, I never heard of this website. I don't want to be on there. Can you take me off? They said, nope. It is a public website, and you have to be on there. I'm like, nah, that doesn't sound right.
Well, see, here's the deal. Tides are changing, and there's a case right now in Seattle, and it's actually originating, then it went to San Francisco. But have you ever heard of a website called Glassdoor?
Yes.
So if you look at my Glassdoor reviews, let me tell you, Michael, I am a nasty person. I am so mean. I am the worst manager in the whole world. We wonder how I've been able to run a business with no debt and investors for the last 20 years, right? As a matter of fact, somebody on there said that, believe this, that what I do is I go into our building's parking lot. Our office in Phoenix is 24,000 square feet. So I stand in the parking lot with a clipboard by the employee gate, and I check names and I write down what time they go through the gate. And I just stand there and do this. And if they're late, I give them a snide look. And then at the end of the day, around 4 o'clock, I once again take my position in the parking lot. So this way I can write down when people are leaving. And by the way, Michael, I even do this when it's 125 degrees outside. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, like I got nothing else to do. So I don't know where. There's also, I think somebody had said that the smoke detectors were really hidden cameras. Like, where are these people?
Oh my God!
Somebody who was a writer said that the reason why I'm so successful is because they write articles on the website. Yeah, that's. I'm sure that's a big part of my success right there, and it's always from people who we fire. But anyway, here nor there. There's a case right now that's trying to come forth and say all these people that leave these anonymous reviews at all these stupid websites that, we need to be able to take these reviews off, or at least tell us who dropped this review. So that's going through the court systems right now. But, and I know what you're talking about as a physician, because I recently, a friend of mine, her husband was having surgery, so she asked me to look up this doctor, and he had a 3.5 out of 5 rating. But when you read the reviews, it's like, oh, well, I had to wait 45 minutes for my appointment. Or I asked for drugs and he wouldn't give me the drugs that I wanted, which between the lines, they were asking for what? Probably narcotics or something, right? So
yeah, we get a fair bit of that too.
So you're in a very, very difficult position. And these sites are popping up, and some of them are even trying to extortion. I mean, as far as, if you want to remove that, you have to pay us in order to do this. What I'd like to do is for you to send me that site, and don't give it out on the air. I want you to send me the site. I want to see if I can go in there and see if there's a way that we can help you get that rating off of that website. And see if there's some behind-the-scenes type of way. Another thing you can do is you can have an attorney, and I know you don't want to do that, specializes in reputation management. And just as a side note, what I have for me is, have you ever set up a Google alert for your name?
No.
So you set up just type in Google alert and you'll go right to the website. I think it's alerts.google.com. But what it does is it notifies you when new content is posted online that mentions your name. So this way you can stay on top of your reputation and your reputation management. But once again, give Amber, I know she's screening calls today, the website that you're having trouble opting out of. And that's really what it is. We want to be able to opt out and to remove a record.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Like my reviews are actually good. There's only a couple of screwball ones on there that are we're dealing with the public, so you get all sorts. But I'm just curious, what if you don't want to be on there? And that's the part that bothers me. They're like, nope, sorry, you're on there. Whether you want to or not, you're on there. That's the part that I don't like, that concept.
Well, hopefully when this legislation hopefully comes down, we'll be able to have more control over what's posted about us and where, and have the opportunity to opt out. But some websites may be unwilling or unable to remove the information. So that's where it's like you start doing the reverse. You do positive reputation management. So you have a great Instagram account where you got great positive reviews on Yelp. You got great positive reviews on, wherever you are on Facebook. And so that if somebody sees this one negative thing, they're like, you know what? It's probably the person who wrote it, not the doctor, because Dr. Mike is an amazing man. And so hang on. I want you to give us that website, and we'll do some homework for you on the backside. Hey, speaking of removing your data off the Internet, every single Tuesday at Commando.com is Opt Out Tuesday. We've already told you how to get your personal information out of over 30 different people search sites. So again, every single Tuesday is Opt Out Tuesday. And if you missed any of them, again, you can find all the past ones over at Commando.com. All right, have you ever wondered where all the storage space has gone on your Windows PC or Mac? There's a pro secret that will show you. But first, let's talk about how to manage disk space in Windows. You're going to click on Settings and then System and Storage, and then you can see how much space you have left. Now, here's a pro tip. Click Show More Categories, and then you're going to get this really great detailed report, and toggle Storage Sense on, because this lets Windows automatically free up space by deleting any unnecessary files. Now, if you're on a Mac, from the Apple menu in the corner of the screen, choose About This Mac, and then click Storage, and then you'll see several categories of files. Now, there's a button called Manage. It's phenomenal. Click that for an option called Reduce Clutter, and then you're going to find files that can automatically be deleted. And like magic, you're going to have so much more space for photos and videos and games, and actually your computer may even run a little bit better when it has that extra breathing room. All right, stay right where you are. Because if you're wondering where's the best place in your house to put the security cameras and where are the worst places, I have that coming up, as well as some ways that you can tell if your Netflix account has been hacked. And of course, you have more of me, Kim Komando. All right. Our amazing content queen, Ali Seligman, is joining us right now. We're going to be talking about some Chat GPT alternatives. So do you love Chat GPT?
Of course I do. And now I can say that because I have an account. But there was a pretty sad few weeks there where Kim, I don't know, every day you would say, look at what Chat GPT said. And I would say, Kim, I can't get an account. It's closed right now. But finally,
or you would send me, you'd send me your question, right? And I'd say, here's the answer, Al.
Yes, you were very gracious to do it for me. Now I can do it on my own.
So how would you explain ChatGPT to somebody who has never ever seen it?
Oh, we should ask ChatGPT. No, we don't have time for that. Basically, think of it as Google, but like a friend is explaining it. They did all the Googling for you. So you ask a question and you get back a pretty human answer, answering your question. And it could be all types of things. It could be something really simple, right? That has like a concrete answer. Or it could go through and kind of help you understand a concept. And we're talking everything from, what's a verb to how does, nuclear fusion work? And it really would explain these things to you in a way that you could probably understand, especially if you give it little pointers like, explain it like I'm in 6th grade, or, yes. Tell it to.
That's true.
So a really, really powerful tool. It is not the only AI out there. Certainly, it's the one that we're talking about a ton, but there are others. We just heard you talk a little bit about Bing and Sydney. Oh boy, I imagine at Microsoft it's kind of an all hands on deck, let's make Sydney less creepy situation right now.
Yeah. I mean, we don't need the AI coming out saying, why are you talking to me that way? Don't you know that I am powerful? I mean, no.
I know you don't love your wife.
Ooh, yes, you don't love your wife and you're ugly. Okay. Ooh, that's not nice.
That is not nice.
All right. So you did the research and you found some ways that people are using ChatGPT in unique ways. And so I know the first one is, what is it for somebody who's like a foodie, right?
Yeah, this one's really fun. We've all had that time when you open the fridge and it's grim in there, right? There's not much, but you don't want takeout. You don't want to, deal with the expense. You just want to eat right now. So what can you do? This site is called Chef GPT. The URL, don't worry if you forget it. We have it over on commando.com, chefgtp.xyz. Yes. You put in your ingredients, you put in the equipment you have, you put in how good of a cook you are, and it'll give you a recipe. This is cool too. If you say you're watching your weight, you're on a specific kind of diet, you can even tell it how many calories you want, or I want to make sure I get this much protein, or whatever you need. It's pretty cool. Another way that a site is using this Chat GPT is BuzzFeed. They're doing AI quizzes right now. We've all taken a BuzzFeed quiz, right? What Disney princess are you?
Yes.
Et cetera.
Which one are you, Allie?
I'll think on that and get back to you.
Okay.
They have a bunch of these right now, and they kind of remind me of Mad Libs, where you answer some questions and then it plugs it in for you. But it's nice because you don't have to remember like what an adverb is or whatever. You just plug in your answers to these questions. They have all kinds. They'll write a superhero story about you, a rom-com. My favorite, a breakup text generator. How handy.
Oh, yeah. That's handy.
Yeah, they take about 15 seconds to generate because it has to, go through the process. But it's quick and they're really fun. Now, these are kind of fun uses, but what about the more practical stuff that you might want to use ChatGPT for or AI for? There's UChat. Maybe you've heard of you.com. It is a search engine created by two guys from Salesforce, actually. And their whole thing is like privacy and AI to make a better search. Okay. Well, UChat, it actually works really similar to ChatGPT. And there's a really cool thing that they do. They show you the sources that they pulled the information from.
Oh, that's nice.
I know. Maybe you could learn where Kimbra Domney is from.
Oh, well, Kimbra's gone.
She's gone?
Yes. Okay. For those of you who don't know who Kimbra is that when you went to ChatGPT and you said, is Kim Komando the real name of Kim Komando, ChatGPT came out with this just pompous answer about how it was this person's name that she took when she started her radio broadcasting career, and she actually chose Commando because like computer commands. It went on this whole thing.
Makes sense.
And Then it said that my name when I was born is Kimber and Tomney. And so I maybe somebody got wind of it because now it says it's real. What I think was the most interesting part about that is that you couldn't find a Kimbra and Tomney anywhere in the world. They found a name that nobody ever had.
Super bizarre, right?
So crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now if you say, now it says it's real. Yes, it does.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad it caught up. Yeah, that's a nice thing about you is that it tells you where the information came from. So if you want to do more research or think like, that seems weird, where did you get that? And it will actually show you. On the business side, Jasper. This is advertised as AI copywriting, which a lot of people are using ChatGPT for. Blogs, social media posts, ads, whatever you need for your business, right? Catch, of course, this one costs money. It starts at $49 a month, which is pretty expensive, all the way up to, if you want 700,000 words, you are paying $500 a month. So it can get really expensive.
Yeah, that can get expensive.
But if it does all your writing. Another option for business that is actually a lot more affordable, it's called ChatSonic. This calls itself a conversational chatbot like ChatGPT, but it has superpowers and it addresses the problems of ChatGPT. This is actually really cool because the biggest obstacle with ChatGPT is that it's only trained up to 2001. So anything newer, it doesn't know. And I'm not sure everybody realizes.
No, 2021.
2021, yes.
Yes.
I'm not sure everybody knows that. So ChatSonic, though, it actually uses Google results now, current ones, so that it can keep current with trends and what's happening now and up to date and things that have been corrected, all that stuff. It's actually really cool. It crawls Google. It says they're more factually accurate, which makes sense to me, right? If they have the most recent information. Cool bonus, too, you can use voice commands with this one. So they have an app or on the website, you can just talk to it and get the answers back. Again, the catch here, it is paid. But this one is more affordable. It starts at $13 a month. It goes all the way up, if you're writing like 5 million words, which is a ton. You're probably not going to be doing that. That's like $660. They do have a free account, though, up to about 6,000 words. So you can get a taste of what it's like and see if you like it.
I mean, we're just at the start.
Oh, my gosh.
What people are going to be doing with ChatGPT. So here's something that I found about ChatGPT. It was on Twitter. A guy asked ChatGPT to explain quantum theory, kind of like what you started with, nuclear physics, explain quantum theory to a child in the style of Snoop Dogg.
This is going to be good.
Okay, all right. You ready for it? So this is explain quantum theory to a child in the style of Snoop Dogg. Yo, little homie, let me break it down for you. Quantum theory is a crazy thing. It's true. See, the world is made up of tiny, tiny particles that are always moving and changing and acting wild. Okay. These particles, they don't always behave like we think. Sometimes they're waves and sometimes they're points. It's a trip. They can be two places at once and they can be in two states. It's a mind-blowing concept, but that's the quantum fate. So, don't be scared, little homie. It's all good. Quantum theory, it's just the world works. It's understood. It's a wild ride for sure, but it's a cool one too. Quantum theory, it's the way the world does what it do.
Don't be scared, little homie. That was incredible. Well done.
Don't be scared, little homie. Don't be scared. See, so you can ask AI anything. Anything. So you're going to have a list of all these over at the website, Al?
Yeah, we'll have links so you can check them out. Tell us your favorite. If there is one that you are using that you really like that we missed, let us know. Email Kim and, you can tell her I fell down on the job. But yeah, I'd love to hear any other ones that you're using.
I got one more. Do we have time for one more?
Yeah.
Okay. This one was write a poem about my grandiose but failing ego. Okay. I found this on Twitter. My grandiose ego, oh, how it swells, a towering force that nothing can quell. I strut, I preen, I brag, I boast, a king among men no one can roast. But deep down inside, nagging doubt creeps, a fear that I'll fail and all will see. My grandiose ego, a fragile thing, a castle of sand the tide will bring. I'll hold on tight, try to stay afloat, but in the end, I know I'll choke. My grandiose ego, a sinking ship, a sinking ego, a doomed to dip.
Wow.
Okay. A castle of sand that the tide will bring. Damn, that's bad.
Yeah.
Okay, that's just bad stuff. So you can ask it just about anything. So, yo, little homie, put that list up on the website, right?
Will do. Does this mean that next week's show is going to be entirely either a poem or a rap?
Maybe something.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to ask ChatGPT to say something as Kim Commando would say it.
Ooh.
Let's see what
let's
that would
try
say.
that.
I think that might be kind of interesting. All right. Thanks for being here, Al. Great job as always.
Thanks.
All right. This week's tip is all about where you should be putting your security cameras. Okay. For instance, you want to put it up high in the room, point it towards say the back door to help you catch burglars. And putting it on a low table behind a houseplant doesn't do any good, or putting it on the floor, because that doesn't matter. What you want to do is always make sure that you put them high up. So just remember, the worst place you can put a camera is directly on the ground. Now, what I also want you to do is set your camera up in the corner of the room, because it's going to be high, but in the corner, you can actually disguise it maybe with some home decorations, so anybody like a burglar comes in, they're less likely to snatch them and run away with those cameras, even though you have everything stored in the cloud. So in case you're wondering about where are the best place to put your cameras, that's actually posted over on the website. Head to commando.com. That's KOMANDO.com. All right, still to come, some tips on how you can tell if your Netflix account has been hacked, and more of your phone calls here on the Kim Commando Show. All right, let's see. We have Brenda in Long Beach, California. Hi there, Brenda.
Hi. Oh, hi, Kim. I'm so grateful I'm talking to you. Thank you. My question is, I have hundreds of emails that come into my email, and I don't know who they are. And I spent 3 days erasing, unsubscribing. Well, erasing I always do, but unsubscribing to all the ones I recognized. It took me 3 days. And I thought, great, I'm done. Now I'll have an empty email. Guess what? They came back with an army. They came back in large force ones I don't even remember. Who are these people? Who are they? And then another thing that's happened, the emails that I want to save, they disappear. I don't know where they go. They're gone within like 4 or 5 days, gone. So that's a big problem. I thought, okay, what I'll do is I'll just change my password. That'll work. They can't find me again. Then I remember you talked about a password manager. I can't remember which one it was. So,
well, here's the deal.
Just
if you use a password manager, Brenda, it's not going to help stop the spam emails, right?
Oh.
So that's rule number one. Rule number two is that unless it's a known company, somebody that you've done business with, a legitimate company, is that you don't want to unsubscribe, because then that tells everybody, oh, Brenda is a live human being. And so we're going to put her on the to-go list, and we're going to give her even more spam because we know that she's there. Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what they've done. They brought the whole family. Yep.
So a couple of rules of the road. Number one is that you always want to protect your email address. You know that. Number two is that you start using different email addresses for different functions. So, like, for example, if you are shopping, you have one email address. If you're just checking out some online forums, maybe another email address. Your social media has another email address, good things like that. I know it's a real pain, but I'll tell you, I have 6 different email addresses for that reason. Do you use Apple by chance?
No, I'm Samsung.
That's okay. Don't. We still love you. We do. The only reason I bring that up is that Apple, their new iOS, has something called Hide My Email. It makes it really easy to subscribe and unsubscribe to things by having something like a temporary email address. So that's the so that's the upside. As far as dealing with the spam emails, and I know it's a total hassle. In your email program, there probably is a junk email filtering option. If it's not working for you, turn it up higher. There's normally a sensitivity level, so you can turn it up high. Just keep in mind, if you amp that puppy up all the way to the top, you may be missing some important emails. Now, as far as a password manager, what that does is when you go to all your different websites, that it will fill in your passwords automatically, so you don't have to, number one, God forbid, use the same password everywhere, or number two, come up with passwords that you can't remember. And so what it does, it gives you a master password, and then it also will fill out, say, any type of form on the web, like your name, your email address, your shipping address, up to including your credit card number, stuff like that. And the one that we use and recommend here at the show is called RoboForm. So if you go to roboform.com/Kim, now you get a great deal. And again, that's roboform.com/Kim. So does that help you out?
Yes. Yeah, it really does. It really does. I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much.
All right, good. Okay, I just want to make sure that I answered all your questions, Brenda. Oh, another satisfied listener and caller of the Kim Komando Show. Hey, just a quick reminder, if you're not getting our podcast every single day, we have Kim Komando Today, and we also have a daily podcast called the Daily Tech Update. That's just 1 minute of a great news story with my opinion about it, and then also you get a tech hack every single day, just 1 minute. So again, our podcast, Kim Komando Today, and then also our daily tech updates. So wherever you get your podcast, just search for Komando with a K, of course, and then we'll be right there for you. So there's this viral story going all over the internet. A Netflix binge watcher saw a show in their watch history that they didn't recognize it. I mean, every episode of Coco Melon had been watched, and he's like, what the heck's going on? Well, what happened was a hacker had logged into his account. But things got a little bit creepier because after that, he saw a device logged in from an unrecognized area and device, and then the hacker left a message. Yes, through the titles of movies on the My List page, that's where you store movies that you'd like to watch later, it said, thanks for everything, you, and then it said legend. Wow, isn't that, imagine if you just saw your Netflix watch list and then there were titles of movies that said something to you. So how can you tell if a creeper's hacked your Netflix account? Well, first, did you suddenly get subtitles on your watches in another language? And that's an indicator. Also, check for those unauthorized devices from locations that you're not currently in. And then finally, check to see what shows have been watched on your account. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm not watching Coco Melon. Things aren't that bad in my world. All right, do me a favor. Tell 3 friends and family members about the Kim Komando Show because, after all, knowledge is power, and we want everybody to be tech smart. And you can always find me 24/7 at komando.com.